Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Salutations and blessings to all who are out there in hell out on no land. We are back. We are back for another amazing edition for an episode uh, called Untitled, LouGinian story. Uh, and it is going to be an amazing story. Today we have on deck, we're going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about his story to his location. We're going to be talking about growth. We're going to be talking about a lot of things from an amazing young man who is a stature in his community. We're going to finish up the story today with hip hop, its birthplace, hip hop from all sectors of the world, because we don't want to just always talk about music being part of New York. We want to talk about music as it exists all around the world, because I want artists to know that you don't always have to go to New York. You don't always have to go to the Midwest. You don't always have to go to California to get your music on and popping. You just have to believe in yourself for it to be on and popping. With that being said, let me introduce an educated, focused, inspiring person who's been through some seasons himself. So he knows how to continue pushing on because he knows that seasons change and he knows how to adapt with each season that comes his way. He's not afraid to reach out. He's a traveler in his own world, in his own way. I give you a producer, a artist himself. I introduce to you all a magnificent person, Mr. LouGinian James. How are you doing again?
Great. Part two, the remix.
Yeah, yeah. This is the as Mr. Kill say, the remix, baby. So how's things going for you? Yeah, how's things going for you mentally? You know how I start this thing out.
um, I identify my problems as challenges, and that's the first step. And the next step is not falling victim to them because I'm a victor. So victorious minds all the way.
So how do you keep those managed?
Basically, man, not to be so long drawn out. It's just that you don't go through things, you get through things because you're getting to somewhere. You know, it's just where you at right now is not the end of all things. It's a lesson to be learned. That's why it's really just more so a challenge than it is a problem because you are the solution. So if you're a solution, you're going to attract problems. So it's up to you to work for your mental more than anything. It's just that identify the problem because you are the solution.
Come on, dropping knowledge this morning. We ain't even got started good. We 3 minutes in. You
Now,
already do.
I pray for a sound mind and sound wisdom and everybody I love and care for more than anything. So, you know, as you know, and it's what's been taught to me and been given to me is that much is given, much is expected. So, I'm not doing the things that I really used to do. You know what I'm saying? Um, just really changing my mindset, and applying it, being more applicable into that change. You know what I mean? Because we done had conversations outside of her to where it was like, because I look
Yeah.
at you as counselor. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Hey, this situation went down and this is how I went about it. How do you feel about that? And when you gave me the feedback, I applied it. That's why we heard that.
And so, looking at, since we're talking about change, what does it
Mm,
take for you to change and get the information? Because a lot of times when we want to change how we want to change, but it's not from the feedback that we get to apply that change. So when you get feedback, not just from me, but from other people you talk to, what do you do with all that feedback? Is it like, okay, I want this, I want this. It's like a cake. A lot of times we don't eat the entire piece of the cake because we're cutting off, taking off, and or pizza. If we don't eat supreme pizza, a lot of people are like, I don't want to eat that. But there are some people that be like, well, let me just take the anchovies off, let me take the tomatoes off, and I can eat what I want to eat. But I'm not gonna ruffle the feathers because I can just take off what I don't want and eat that pizza still because it's still a pizza. There's still some things there if you take the layers off. What do you do with all the feedback? Do you keep it all? Do you just use what you want to use? What do you do with it?
I keep it all because, you know, um, I know with me, I'm very teachable. I'm very coachable. You know what I mean? So the approach doesn't bother me. It could be a person who's very aggressive with it because I grew up off tough love. So it's like I got the pure advantage in this society, in today's society. So it's like a person can sit over here and come at me any type of way they want to because it's no longer physical no more to be like, oh, I'm gonna beat his ass or no shit like that. It's just kind of like, wait a minute, what is the message that he's trying to convey to me? You know what I mean? Obviously, he's, he or she is here for a reason. You know what I mean? So, at first I take the bits and pieces, what's going to benefit me now. And because basically the whole conversation or whatever's been given to me makes sense in time. So, say like if I had a situation and I came to you about it and you provided me with a solution, bits and pieces of this is going to help me right now. But then later on, what you told me then is going to help me along that journey.
That makes sense because a lot of the information we get from feedback, it it helps us in the way we break down the information we get. Uh, like a 4 course meal is not something you try to consume all at one time versus it's
Mm-hmm.
something you get in pieces of a time. Because when you go to a restaurant, that's the first thing they bring you: water and bread. You get full off the
Right.
bread, then you're going to waste the main course of the meal. You get full off the salad, you're wasting the dessert. And then what do you end up doing? You take, hey, let me go tray. So you can take the rest of the main course and the dessert home. So you can't get full off of everything because it's sitting in front of you. But if you take pieces of it, then you'll last a longer time. It's that's the benefit of growth. But if you don't understand that, then you're gonna try to eat everything, and then when it's gonna hurt when you digest it, because not all every time you sit on the toilet it come out easy. I'm just gonna be honest. Sometimes you got to sit there and be like, that one hurt. Just gonna be honest. It's not just me; it's everybody. Um,
Right.
how long did it take for you to get to the level you are right now?
Honestly, I mean, looking back at it, it really didn't take me long at all because I kept going. It wasn't like I was, I don't operate off feelings. I operate off logic. You know what I mean? I move with what makes sense. So I know that I'm growing, but it's kind of like monitoring a plant in the sense of, you know what I mean? Like when you plant the seed, then it's like when it starts sprouting out the ground, like it's kind of like that, but it's not like that because I can't really realize the growth until I look back at it. So kind of divine how it is that the conversation we having now is like from the last time we had it. It's like, oh, I've seen a lot of growth because I did different things. I moved different. You know what I mean? And I had to understand that it's like I'm no longer in the place where I think I am. You know what I mean? So, and then looking at my surroundings, because everything around you is going to tell you, you know what I mean, where you are. You know what I mean? So just sitting back and reflecting because like with me, like I'm a workaholic. You know what I mean? Whether if it's music, whether if it's a 9 to 5 or, doing something for my nieces, nephews, my sisters, my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always moving, you know what I mean? And I never had time to really sit back because I've experienced a lot of losses, as far as close friends, close family members, and things like that. And I never had to sit back and just to absorb it. You know what I mean? And that's a part of like, it's really a part of healing. You know what I mean? More than anything. And once I had that time, the stuff that I used to do is kind of like, I no longer see a purpose for it. But to answer your question, is just that you know, once I had the time to look back from where it occurred, where things occurred and stuff like that, and where I'm at now, I realized the growth. You know what I mean? Which goes back to my analogy of, planting the seed and watching a plant grow. You know what I mean? You can't just sit there and plant the seed and just sit there like all day in the garden and just watch your plant grow. Like, you know what I mean? You got some things to do. You got other things to tend to. So when I came back to the plant, I've seen increase.
Yeah, because you put it in that thought process. Some plants take 4 or 5 years to even come out of the dirt. Then
Right.
some plants take 2 to 3 months. So it depends on which part of the growth process you're using or you're trying to be. Because There are different types of plants, and the part that we don't see, unless you have a plant inside of a glass structure, glass house per se, is the plant struggling to shoot itself upside of the dirt. That's the most successful part when the plant comes up out of the dirt. Us as
You ain't
humans,
lying. You ain't
yeah,
lying on that one.
yeah, us as humans, and I know that's improper English, and I don't care what y'all think, I'm saying it correctly. Us as humans, because I add myself into it, it's the hurt part that we don't see from the plant. So, as a man, black man, perceived by everyone that sees you and don't say nothing to you, what is the hurt part like for you?
I
Not to be able to
mean,
talk to people, have people to talk to. What is that part like for you? Because that's the part that's not ever talked about.
because the reason why it's not really talked about because it's kind of like we want what we put out reciprocated, and when it's not
Yeah.
reciprocated, that's where that takes place. So when I have an understanding, it's kind of like, all right, if I'm like this with this person, I'm like that with everybody. And cause it's kind of like I am love. So it's like I'm gonna show love, I'm gonna show respect. If I don't get that back, you know what I mean? I'm speaking for every man, every woman, every species that's living. It's like if we don't get that back, we're gonna feel some type of way because our intentions were set from the beginning. You know what I mean? So when it's not reciprocated, I realize it, I acknowledge it, and I move on. That's where the logic kicks in because when I in my past, it's kind of like when I relied on my emotions, you know what I'm saying? I got in trouble with the law. I was hanging around people I wasn't supposed to be around. You know what I mean? Emotions got me in trouble more than my logic did. At least with my logic, I was in a bad space. All right, I gotta take this loss, which is really a lesson, so I can regroup and reset and keep moving. To where if it's like if it was an emotion, it's kind of like, well, damn, I got to start over. I got to regroup. I got to go back to the drawing board. So, back to answer your question is just that, at the end of the day, what I mean, I eliminated relying off emotion because every time when I relied off emotion, especially in my younger days, it's like it always put me in a messed up situation.
Now, if you look at it, that's a learning process that now you have to look back and you be like, huh, maybe it's okay to understand why my heart beat slower because you're thinking about something you put off. After you've thought about it, now it's not as much as a tear jerk moment because you've already thought about it and been through it. And it's no longer put off because you said you never dealt with the deaths. As we do a lot of times, a lot of people, this is
We
what I was
grieve
going to ask you.
differently.
Do you work? Yeah. Do you work to forget or do you work to stay busy? Because it's two different things. Because when we're stuck with deaths that happen and, loss from bills and loss from job, a lot of times we throw ourselves into work to forget. And it's a difference from working to stay busy. So which one do you think over time that you merged the two or you've done one or the other? Have you worked to
I,
stay busy to forget?
I work to stay busy. I mean, because it's always on my mind. Because I'm not going to forget about it. It's how I'm gonna deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I gotta live life. You feel me? And at the end of the day, it's up to me to accept the fact of what is and what ain't. And just like I said, to further expound on your question, is just that you know I stay busy to maintain. Because I can't forget it. You know what I mean? So I got to build off that, you know, and when I build off that, it develops a bigger understanding later on down the road that I don't know about right now. All I know how to do is keep going, not quitting. The purpose to endure is to have stamina for the reward, because you're going through things for a reason. You know what I mean? Excuse me. You're getting through things for a reason because you got somewhere you want to be. You have a destination. You have somewhere you want to be in life. So you have to prepare yourself to be in that position. And when that changed for me is when I started, like I said earlier, it was like I started identifying my problems as challenges. It's no longer physical, it's more mental. So your mental is going to be attacked more than anything as you climb up the mountain. And as you climb up the mountain, it's going to be more steep. It's going to be more rocks falling at you and everything, knocking you off course. So at the end of the day, it's just kind of like it's really for you to sharpen your mental for you to get to where you need to be.
How does young LouGinian, which I
Mike
know,
James, Young
that's
Av,
not
you
who.
already know I'm
Yeah,
known. Go ahead.
yeah. So, talk about the creation of LouGinian James, which I know how that structure came about. But let's talk about the creation of LouGinian. What was the names
Um,
before you settled on that one?
Look though, all right, cause it really started through like music. You know what I'm saying? I want to shout out Nicholas F. Without Nicholas F, I wouldn't be even talking music, doing music, anything about that in that nature. He brought me into the light with the shit. He never taught me how to rap or anything. He was like, you could just do it. So mind you, like growing up in Richmond, Virginia, like we got a lot of. It's a big melting pot. You know what I mean? Coming from St. Louis, and which is a melting pot as well with the West Coast and the South. With Virginia, it's more of like you got the hot shit down south, and you got really like the East Coast, Jada Kids, Jay Z, Nas. So it was that whole time period was just trying to mesh everything together for me to make for it to make sense to me. You know what I mean? So it was like I couldn't forget about St. Louis, but I appreciate where I'm at in Virginia. So just to put that together was really a whole process, and it's just like growing pains. You know what I mean? Like when we was adolescents, we had acne, facial hair, shaving, razor bumps, and you know what I'm saying. It's just a simple transitioning phase, but that was just through music. You know what I mean? Because speaking of music, like I always had the bars. You know, but then it was like, can you make a song? You know what I mean? So when I went back home to St. Louis, it was just kind of like they won't enter the bars. They was like, I want to hear this on the beat. That's what made me propel into doing songs. And when I finally got it together, it was like I got songs with bars. And then it was just kind of like nowadays I'm past the bars and it's more so like putting out the message, because I don't curse in my raps. You know what I mean? It's a reason for that, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, yo, like I want to get to the point, you know what I mean, with what I'm doing and with what I love. So, you know what I'm saying? Just the whole, just not forgetting where I'm from and also appreciating where I'm at, as far as like the Lou Genius aspect, merging
We've
St.
talked
Louis.
several times. Yeah, we talked several times about the way to get your stuff out there because back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, as I've stated before, the way to get your music out there is you want it to be sold in places like Walmart, Target, your local store. And if you look in your store, they have two versions. It's split and non-split. And it was the non-split that was in the radio play. And I like I told you, I've always told people that if you can't play your stuff on the radio, how do you expect people to hear it? How can I call in and say, hey, let me hear that new LG song? Who is LG? LouGinian James, man. Let me hear that new LG song. LouGinian James. Oh, yeah, let me put that in. Because a lot of radio stations don't have it because people call and ask for it. But if enough people call and ask for it, then they're starting to look for it because it's not played everywhere because people don't hear it everywhere because it can't be played on the radio everywhere. FCC has specific guidelines in certain locations. California and New York are the only ones that you can do certain verbiage that they're okay with. And then even then, you can only do so many at a time. But if you can simply do a clean rap version of your song, I'm going to say personally, do you consider yourself an artist? Because you
No.
have to have something that kids can play.
I don't consider myself an artist because, it's a different day and age. It's a different day and time, because I mean, when I was coming up, it was radio. It was the Source magazine. You know what I mean? Double
Yeah.
XL was just pretty much birthing itself. And it's a whole different
Rap
day and
City.
age. Yeah, because I mean, we had Rap City and stuff like that where our favorite artists would spit a 16 and promote their albums. It's not like that anymore. And it's an even playing field for artists. You got Spotify, you got things like that, and you have a lot of artists, in entrepreneurship, in ownership of their own. A lot of these young artists are creating a brand for themselves, and it's kind of like where we're at now was like the younger artists. Shout out to NLE Chopper because he's the only young artist I see like do songs with 50 Cent, be on stage with Nelly and things like that. You know what I mean? He's one of the few that gets it. You know what I mean? Shout out to the baby too. because I want to end that stigma of older artists and things like that, and people who love music hating on the younger generation, because a lot of the youngsters are really getting it now. You know what I mean? Because it's a shift. Because Juicy J was like, what, rap sales went down like 40% and things like that. And you got the older artists like 50 Cent still selling out tours, and younger artists not really, can't even book a show. They're canceling shows and things like that. It's a shift going on. And, just back to answer your question, it's kind of like, I'm not an artist of this time. Like, I could drop music whenever. You know what I mean? That's without question. I'm not worried about dropping music whenever. And that's the luxury of it, because it's like I could put together 8 to 10 songs and throw it out there. I know the business. I know who I need to know to put it out there. It's up to me to just take action and do it. I have to understand myself is that it's a different playing field. It's a level playing field. It ain't like how it was back in the day when we were coming up, to where it was like it was a few people rapping that were nice, because the few people that were rapping, you know what I mean, they were just rapping, but very few of them had a studio. You know what I mean? And then after that, few people, you know what I'm saying, was in radio and new people and things like that. Nowadays, like I said, it's just an even playing field. So, to consider myself still an artist, that's kind of like holding back the younger generation. You know what I mean? So if I do music, it's for hip hop. It's something I love, and it's for the people that understand and love hip hop.
So I don't want you to shade yourself, because you're going to be an artist no matter what the generation. It's always going to be someone that wants to hear the
No
music you put
flags.
out. There's
True.
always going to be someone that's going to be like, man, I want to be just like LouGinian James. I mean, I love the type of music you put out, because had it not been for the Nas's and Jay-Z's and 50s to continue to do it, then there wouldn't be a blueprint on how to do it after people say they should retire. I think it was, I just heard an interview, I forgot who it was, but someone said that they were supposed to do a song with Prince, and Prince said he wouldn't do it with them because they didn't own their masters. And he wanted to do the song with them for them to own their masters so they can reap all the benefits instead of someone else getting that benefit from them. That's how much knowledge people like Prince and Michael Jackson had for doing songs with certain people. But people didn't really pay attention to it during that time frame. So they was already ahead of the game. That was also when Prince took away his name and became the artist formerly known as, and he became the symbol. That's how smart uh, a lot of the old school cats were to the game and what the industry was doing. Um, with that being said, in our first conversation, you mentioned your transition from St. Louis to Virginia, back to St. Louis, and we know some of the artists that represent VA, because back in that time it was uh, Timbaland, Magoo, rest in peace to Magoo. This passed last month, I think. Uh, Missy, she's been in and out of the game. She's changed herself right about now, and Leo was in that group. I think Tweet was in that group. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Clips. Um,
the Clip was in that group, and
Family.
yeah, and so it's a mob of people that came out in that one group that set the tone for VA. They became the face that everyone seen publicly from VA. But you named a bunch of people that was not necessarily known, like the Timbaland groups. You want to give them some recommendation about the other people from VA that you knew about, that people like me probably wouldn't know
Um,
about, like consider underground.
Um, Respectfully, like I said earlier, Nicholas F. He introduced me to music. I also want to shout out the Super Friends. Because those were the first, artists I heard locally on radio. Lonnie B, DJ Lonnie B. He's definitely doing his thing. Skills. We know about Skills. You know what I'm saying? Outside the year wrap up. And Danger Mouth, Joe Dozier. Joe Dozier was like Nelly Country Grammar at the time, because he had a song called Cadillac Boy. Big Sty. Big Sty dissed everybody in the industry, and that was the floodgates for Richmond to showcase their talent, and it never happened. Who else? Red Rum. Uh, I want to Radio B. Michael Millions. Uh, Cousin P. Who else? Who else? Who else? Shout out to the whole BDM. Shout out my man Short. Shout out Big Billionaire. Um, Shout out Stilo. Uh, Shout out Zip Skip, Coogee Keith, FNF Chop, you know what I'm saying? Young Man, Saluting T, Trill Phil. Cause I mean, I'm pretty, everybody that I'm naming is past and present, you know what I mean? Who really provided an impact, you know what I mean? I'm speaking as a fan and as a supporter, you know what I mean? Cause you gotta think about it like, you know, and I never, and nobody really spoke on this, is that back in the days in the 90s, when I first came here from St. Louis, it was like Richmond, Virginia was known for like getting that artists. You know what I'm saying? Not just trying to slap the demo, but on some street shit. And then it's kind of like we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with that, because if we sitting up here like beating up their artists and robbing their artists and stuff like that, you know, and we have talent, the labels aren't going to deal with us, logically speaking. You know what I mean? So, you know, that was kind of like a delay in a sense, far as Virginia being out there, but at the same time, like, you know, the artists I've named have put their stamp out there. Also, I want to shout out Young Money Yawn. Young Money Yawn, he's pretty much the GOAT, the current GOAT of Virginia. You know what I mean? He's from Norfolk, very successful. You know, what everybody's been talking about in Virginia in the past 20 years, he's done it times 10. And you know, out and the reason why, and to answer another question, is just the reason why we don't have a lot of attention to Virginia, because what is Virginia known for? Timberland and the Neptunes, well, for real, and things like that, and Missy. We have lyricists, me, you know, into music itself. Like he was on the Unsigned Hype. He won 106 in Park 7 times in a row. You know what I'm saying? Became one of the elite battle MCs on 106 in Park. So just to see that, you know, it was kind of like future shock to me, because I couldn't believe it, but I had no choice but to believe it.
So let's talk about opportunities, because you had some opportunities that's opened doors for you to go between St. Louis
Um,
and Virginia. What is those opportunities? What was the first opportunity that gave you the pathway to leave or upgrade yourself in St. Louis?
um, Well, I was home,
The
you
loop.
know what I'm saying? I was down bad in Virginia, then because I was like, I ain't got nothing else. All I got is the music. So I went back to St. Louis, and I was standing in the north side of St. Louis, and I was walking to the store one day, and one of the neighbors was like, "Yo, you the dude that be rapping, right? Well, here's a card or whatever." And I went to a local studio, like on the other side of the north side, and I ended up meeting a guy named Mac Rush, and the rest was history from there. Like he pretty much like he took me in, put money in my pocket. He was like, "You can't do no sports because we can't have you hurt." You know what I mean? But you gonna be rapping, and he ain't never charged me for studio time and nothing like that. Like he took care of me like an older brother, man. And he introduced, like he was one of the first people to like introduce me, be a part of like a label deal. This when label deals was popping in the early to mid 2000s. So he gave me an opportunity, a shot, you know, with Universal at the time, with our independent label. This, you know, because St. Louis was like the place to find artists at the time, because you know Nelly, Chingy, Huey was coming out, Jibs was coming out as well, and you know, just being a part of that,
St. Lunatics.
you know, just to be involved in it and just to really be heavily a part of it, just off my talent alone, was pretty much opened the door.
So what was it like to see the St. Lunatics get on and popping? Because you've been part of, you come from two places to where two mega groups, St. Lunatics, and then I don't really know. I'm just going to call them the
Right.
VA6 for the Virginia Six to be the face, and that's pretty much what Timbaland and Magoo and Missing Them was to people that didn't live
Hmm.
in VA, and that's what the St. Lunatics were to people that didn't live in St. Louis. So what was it like to be, because you pretty much represent those two areas with the LouGinian name?
Respectfully.
You're like going into, you're like the
Right.
hybrid. Yeah, you're like the
Respectfully.
hybrid for what they created. And like, you know what? Uh, the hybrid child for these two groups. We're putting everything into LouGinian James. In the future, there's going to be someone who comes along. He's going to carry the torch. So what is it like to, now that I say this, it's kind of funny. Now, what is it like to carry on the name for those two groups?
It's kind of surreal, you know what I mean? Because I received because Timberland Productions, he followed, you know, his production company, Timberland, his production company still follows me on Instagram for like years. So I know people are watching. And you know, shout out to Ali and shout out to Kiwan of the Lunatics. Shout out to Coco, you know, Grammy Award winner, Shake Your Tail Feather. Shout out to Tall Boy, you know, Grammy nominated, you know, made tipsy, pretty much responsible for Jaquan's success. You know, for those guys to you know see just to look at what I'm doing is just surreal to me because it's kind of like you know what I'm saying you know like you see something that is kind of like you aspire to be there, and then it's kind of like when those people that you aspire to be like look at you, you know, it's a surreal feeling, and you know, it just gave me confirmation just to keep going. You know what I mean, and not to worry about my circumstances because circumstances ain't nothing but distractions to your focus. And I always, you know, it's always in the back of my head. You know what I mean? Even still to this day, I still thank Coco to this day because like I think about what 10 years ago, like I was in aviation school in Chesapeake, and he sent me a beat. He was like, "Yo, you trying to get on my mixtape?" You know what I mean? I'm just like, "Yo, thank you for everything you done and this and the third, just showing gratitude." And he was like, "Yo, you trying to get on my mixtape?" And I was fucked up about this shit. You hear me? Like I was like, "Damn, like this dude may shake your tail feather." The Nelly and Tim McGraw over and over again. And for me, just to get on the beat of his, even the tape didn't come out, but just to even get on a beat of his that he sent himself, I mean, that's like it's surreal, but it's definitely confirmation. You know what I mean? Just to get that type of feedback and things like that, and to have Kiwan and have Ali support me in whatever I was doing, and if I needed to I could reach out to them like it's surreal, to be honest. It's beyond surreal, for real, for real. Like, because I never thought it would ever happen, even with The Rock. You know what I mean? I'm just like, because in Virginia, there's plenty more motherfuckers out here that need to be with The Rock. But for me to be with The Rock, I'm just like, yo, it's like it's all surreal. And then just to still live a normal life, you know what I mean? Like, I'm beyond thankful.
And let's talk about The Rock. And when we talk about The Rock, we're talking about
Right.
Rock
Yeah.
Nation. How did you end up with the particular job that you have at the Rock Nation? And also explain about the emblem with the hats too. But let's talk about how did you end
Man,
up with
I
the
ain't gonna
Rock
hold you.
Nation?
Like, just like I tell everybody else, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just on Instagram and it was like I seen that Rock Nation partner with Major League Baseball, and I'm like, yo, how come y'all ain't make St. Louis hats? And I got the reason why, and you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know who I was talking to at the time, you know, which happened to be talking to a real important person over there, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like I didn't know. You know what I mean? Because then I started like buying the gear, which I still do today. I started buying, you know what I'm saying, buying the shit. And everybody was asking me, like, yo, like, are you with Rock Nation? Because at that time when the paper plane hats was out, only people that was with Rock Nation was wearing the paper plane hats. It wasn't like everybody was wearing it. So, you know, I went to, you know what I'm saying, I went to Rock Nation. I was just like, yo, people asking me I'm with Rock Nation. They was like, yo, so what did you tell them? I was like, yo, I fuck with them. And that was pretty much my end. You know what I'm saying? That was my pretty much my entry with Rock Nation. Like they always supported me with everything that I did. And at the time I was studying to get my certification to fix airplanes. So they knew what I was doing. Like I didn't want to sit over here and be like a million motherfuckers that come to them and be like, yo, I rap, I do this and do that. It's just like, you know what I mean? I was real focused on like aviation maintenance. I was really focused on fixing airplanes. Why? Because, you know, if my nieces and nephews was to be like, yo, like I need this, I need that, I got it for them. Even to this day, I'm still doing it. But it's just kind of like at that time, it was just kind of like I was so focused on being a career man. You know what I mean? I was okay with not rapping anymore. I was okay with not doing music. You know, and but how things work, it was just kind of like, yo, like whatever you doing, we behind you. And I did a clothing line with my ex fiance, and it was called For the Win, which is still I'm putting it back out shortly, and they supported it. Like you can go on my Instagram and you can see them wearing my, you know what I'm saying, my apparel, and You know, it's been it's like with the Rock Nation, it's organic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real organic. I don't talk to him every day or anything like that. But whenever we do have conversations or things like that, it's always organic and it's always beneficial for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm more just a sponge. What can I tell them? You know what I mean? So you know, it's just with the whole Rock Nation situation. It's organic and they always been in my corner. You know, I just like, you know, 'cause they,
That's a good
huh?
thing, though. That's a good thing because you probably hit them at a time to where it was easy for them to read messages. Now, even with, let's say, 2 months ago, it's hard to read messages that people send you through Instagram or the social media sites because there's so many, and the the privacy agreements go up every other month to where one message becomes two messages, it becomes millions of messages, and yeah, well, you probably see it. People send you messages, and if they're not your friend, they go to the trash
Right,
box. They go to the scam box, and they sit in there, and they sit in there. They be like, "Hey, people have told me, hey, I've sent you a message." I'm like, "I didn't get it." And it's like, "Yeah, I sent you a message." I'm like, "Oh, let me check the scam box." As if you ain't my friend, it's probably sitting in the scam box because there's a lot of scammers that will send you messages through links like, "Hey, I'm sending you a message from these eyeglass company place." I'm like, "Okay, well, why are you sending it from no friends, no followers, and an alternate
right.
account?" So that means you're a scammer. So I can understand from a stature of, let's say, Walmart, Target, or Rock Nation, uh, Aftermath, Def Jam. They probably get millions of those. Just like back in the day, they used to get millions of demo tapes, and they just
Yeah,
sit there.
because I mean the crazy part of what I didn't know who I was talking to. It wasn't like I was like, yo, like I know who this is. I'm trying to get with Rock Nation. I hit the jackpot. I didn't know who I was talking to, and it was just such an organic conversation because I'm like, yo, man, we could have. I'm like, yo, like you know what I'm saying? I got this. I want to put with this hat and that hat, and you know what I'm saying? Like it was something like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, yo, I'm trying to get with the Rock type shit. Like it only got serious when I started like purchasing the Rock Nation merchandise and wearing it out in the street. And they were like, "Yo, is you with Rock Nation or you?" Because I ain't want to sit up and say, "Yeah, I'm with Rock Nation," without they stamp of approval. So basically, that conversation when I went back to them and I was like, "Yo, like motherfuckers is asking me about like, yo, like, am I with the Rock?" I can't sit up here and say it if y'all didn't give me that green light to say so. You know what I mean? So that was the whole purpose of that conversation. And even with that, it's just surreal. Like I don't want a rock chain. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like I'm trying to be like, yo, I'm trying to meet, because that's gonna all happen. It's just me. With me, it's just kind of like, I'm in my lane. I'm doing what I do and things like that. I'm grateful, and I'm just making more room to be grateful for things to come.
So being an artist
Uh,
yourself, uh, what what do you get? What type of information do you give those who are up and coming? What type of guidance do you try to give those who are looking to be the next uh, J. Cole or Keisha Cole or somebody of that nature? What type of information do you give them?
Learn the business, because if you learn the business, you be able to rub shoulders with who you need to rub shoulders with, because you can apply the business. How you apply the business is by exercising what you know. You're gonna take some hits and you're gonna have some wins for sure. Because the music industry is the music industry. Because it's a lot of talented musicians who aren't in the music industry. You follow me? So, I always tell them learn the business, because everybody has talent. Everybody has talent. You know what I mean? In
That's good.
some shape or form. And if you learn the business, that's what's going to really separate you, and what's going to take you to further you more to the next level is you applying the business. That's where you really going to rub shoulders with people who've been doing it for like 2, 3 decades, who are legends and icons and things like that.
I'm gonna tell them you can't be jealous of people that ain't jealous of you.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just a fact because there's a lot of people that's doing it, they're not even thinking about you. So you can't be jealous of people that ain't jealous of you.
Right. And with me, it's like, I've been around. I'm always around people that are better than me in something, and that's my cheat code. You know what I mean? If you better than me in something, it's kind of like, how do you do what you do? You know what I mean? Because eventually you're gonna tell me your story on how you got to where you got, and you know what I mean. Which goes back to the question you asked me earlier. You know what I mean? Like, when somebody tells me something, what do I do with what they tell me? It's bits and pieces. You know what I mean? Because these bits and pieces gonna work right here, right now, and later on, you know what I'm saying? Like those other bits and pieces is gonna work later on down the road. So, that's my cheat code. I try to be around people that are better than me because I'm always learning. So if I'm always learning, I'm always evolving.
I had to put that quote down. You can't be jealous of people that ain't
Yeah.
jealous of you before I
Hey, you
forget it.
gotta send that to my DM. You heard me?
Yeah, I had to put it down before I forget it. I'm gonna put it on my other Instagram page where I do all my quotes. It's called that book I read. So when I read a book or write a book or come up with a quote or anything like that, I put it on that page so other people can follow it and comment on it. So that's probably gonna be the one I
I'm
put
gonna
up there
share that
next.
too.
Now switching
Hmm.
gears to a portion of a podcast that I call Out Now. Uh, a particular artist just dropped. His name is West Side Gun.
Oh my
How?
God.
Yeah, I listened to West Side Gun. So let's talk about
Let's
West
talk
Side
about
Gun.
it.
Let me pull up his. Yeah, let me pull up his track list and so we can go over the the list of his songs. Because how far did
I
you
haven't
get in it?
listened to the whole album. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like I haven't, cause I mean, like that's all I listen to is Griselda. I'll listen to some hot shit. You know what I'm saying? Outside of Griselda, but that's all I listen to. And when I listen to like I listen to about good 7 songs out of the whole, cause I know it's way more, and it's different. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm in shock. I knew it was gonna happen where he was going to collab with some of the hottest producers in the game right now. I just knew it. He was gonna like step away from his sound and things like that. Respectfully so, but I only listened to like 7 songs so far.
So I listened to uh the entire all the
Uh huh.
tracks. I like the one he has with Jesus. Uh, I especially listen to the ones where he had names on, like Jalen Rose and LL Boo
Yeah.
Gun, because I'm like, man, is he talking about? Is he talking about Cool? So particular tracks like that, and then the one we had guest features, because I listen to West Side Gun myself, and the ones where he had Conway and Benny on it. So I listened to all those. So I particularly like the album because I like West Side Gun, and so it's I don't complain when artists switch
Me
their
neither.
styles because I'm like, okay, cool. Like everyone's complaining about Drake. I'm like, I can't believe Drake did this, Drake did that. I'm like, well, Drake called the album All Dogs. It's about time he make an album for guys.
Right.
So you can't complain when he make an album for guys. So I said, you can't complain when an artist switch their style because they're doing it for someone who asks for that style. So when I listen to West Side Gun, I'm like, I like it because it's not like he's dropping an album every month. He drops one every so often, so he
Shoot.
lets you fully digest the last
Yeah.
one.
Cause I
Yeah, and it's like Nas. He lets you fully
I
digest
still
it.
ain't
So
fully look with that Nas album. I ain't even listened to. I listened to like 2 tracks, and the 2 tracks I've heard is like it's like it takes a lot to like to for with Nas and Jay, man. Like it's like I'm still trying to take this whole West Side Gun album, like, cause I'm still off Hitler Word Hermes 10. I'm still blasting that. I'm still blasting Peace by God. I'm still blasting Who Made the Sunshine. Cause you got to think about it with Who Made the Sunshine. Like Black Thought was on there. Slick Rick had 2 verses. And you know what I'm saying? And West Side Gun had a song with Busta Rhymes and Slick Rick on that album. And then he did a song, and it was like it was one joint. Raekwon did the intro for his album, for one of his albums, and I was like, I haven't really, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, I haven't really like. I haven't listened to the new Nas album. The first two tracks I heard off the Nas album was crazy. I'm still like,
Is it the Lil Wayne one?
nah. The very
Did you
first two
listen to the
tracks on
Lil
the
Wayne one?
album,
Oh, okay.
the very first two on the album, I haven't listened to anything
Fever.
past that, and it's just because of what I'm doing.
So you listen to Fever, TSK, and Superhero
Yeah,
Status.
the
Those are
joint
the
he did the
first two
video
tracks on that
for,
album.
and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
So you haven't even listened to the one with Lil Wayne. It's called Never Die, and then I think he has hidden guest features on a few other songs on there.
man, but it's the good music is pretty much her. So that's all you know what I mean? I'm trying to catch up. Like that West Side Gun album, it threw me for a loop. Like I ain't even gonna hold you. Like I was like, yo, so he fucking with Tay Keith? Oh, he got DJ. He had DJ Drama on the last album. But he got DJ Holiday. I know he had DJ Holiday on there and all that. He was on Travis Scott album that just dropped too. So I'm like, I'm trying to just like soak everything in. You know what I mean? With the latest releases.
And I think he had ESTG on there too.
Yeah,
So
like
he has some people on there.
ESTG go crazy. ESTG go
So
crazy. Like with that dude, like he go crazy. Like him.
but not only did West Side Gun come out yesterday, but also Paul Wall made a return to the music. Yes, Paul Wall made a return to the music face. Let me go ahead and say October 13th, Friday the 13th was a very impactful, scary Friday because Paul Wall, West Side Gun, Paul Wall came back with a terminology. Paul Wall and Terminology dropped the album,
Oh,
and they had
yeah.
some nice features on there too. I listened to it yesterday. Yeah, so you need to catch up there, my brother.
I got homework. I know. I got hella homework. I know. Like I didn't know that because like
But let me tell you this:
I did not because like
Paul Wall
no. Go
had
ahead.
CL Smooth on there.
What?
Yeah, Paul Wall had CL Smooth on there. Not Pete Rock, but Pete Rock maybe produced some beats, but he had CL Smooth on not one but two tracks.
Hey. Yeah,
Yep.
I got some listening to do, like, cause you know what I'm saying I'm on my Sabbath, man, cause it's Sabbath today, so I be in the crib, I be chilling, or I just be out the way, like, and I just been like I said, I haven't listened to the whole West Side Gun album because I'm so stuck on Hitler Wear Hermes 10, cause I listened to it yesterday and I was like, okay, he's in a whole different lane, but I'm still stuck on that original West Side Gun, like Hitler Wear Hermes and the Pray because I heard the Pray for Paris album. You know, and I'm like, it's something different. This is way different because it's the sequel to that. So I got to really sit down and really listen to this joint.
Let me go ahead and tell you the features that Paul Wall
Go
has
ahead.
on his album. He has AZ, CL Smooth, Bun B, Tony Sunshine, Big Crit, and who's the other person? But he has Petey Crack, Sheik Louche, and Nims. But he has Big Crit on there also.
Wait a minute. So I ain't heard Tony Sunshine in a minute.
Yeah, he got him on there. I'm looking at it right now, and I've listened to the entire Paul Wall and Terminology. I don't really know who Terminology
No,
is.
Terminology, I know who he is. He from out Massachusetts. Like that Massachusetts hip hop wave is, hey, it's about to be a problem. I'm gonna say that right now. Like,
So that's probably why I don't know who it is but I'm gonna look him up because I kind of like his style. So it's
that man Terminology, like.
But when I heard
that man a problem.
When I heard that CL Smooth,
I ain't heard I didn't know that. I'm
man,
gonna keep it a stack with you. Like I never knew that Paul Wall and Terminology did an album together. I never knew about it.
Yeah, well, this is the first one that I know of. The first one I know of. since we talked, the member of De La Soul
Yeah.
died. I think last month, and they also dropped a new album too. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I haven't listened to it. Uh, that's why this segment is called Out Now. We're talking about all the music from each one of the sectors that's out now because a week before that, Slim Thug finally came back out with a
Slim
new
Thug
album
always
too. Have you
dropping.
heard that one?
Now I know Slim Thug, he stay dropping shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He don't even need, when he had his major debut, that was it, and that was good enough. Cause I mean, he's still doing the same shit if he was with a major. Like,
But other than that, it's those was the ones that I really wanted to mention. The West Gun, because I know you's a big West Gun fan, and Nas, Slim Thug, Paul Wall. Uh, I also listen to K Michelle. I don't want to leave my R&B people out. I listen to that K Michelle too, and there's some other R&B albums that's dropped or that's coming. So it's Usher's coming out. He's doing the Super Bowl. Big
oh
chops up to
yeah,
Usher.
that's gonna be
It's
crazy.
going to yeah. Uh, that's going to be super
Yeah,
crazy
Usher at the Super Bowl
because
in
Usher's going to put on a
Vegas.
super show. Yeah, so that's gonna be wild. I put it like that because he already has a feature that he does in Vegas. So now he's going to have a bigger stage. What are some albums that you look forward to seeing in the future besides West Side Gun? What are some albums or some groups that you would like to see collab?
I'm currently like outside of you know what I'm saying, outside of Griselda, you know, I've been listening like, I've been listening to SD Net, you know what I'm saying, West Side Gun's protege, and his beats are fucking incredible. His album's fucking incredible. Wrong Streets. I'm really looking forward to more like outside of that, I'm just really looking forward to like the upcoming talent. You know what I mean? Like because it's a lot of shit out here. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of shit out here. It's a lot of guys out here really doing their thing, and that's what I'm pretty much tuned into. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always in tune with what CMG got going on. Uh, I like what the youngins are doing out here. Um, it's just pretty. You know, it's kind of hard to like forecast it because music is such a like an unpredictable. It's unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? Like so, you know, I look forward to I look forward to a lot of shit that's unexpected. I should say because it's such an unexpected turn with a lot of shit. Like I'm still like in awe with Nas, his 50th birthday, and his album and all that. You know, I'm just still in shock with that. And then you telling me Paul Wall and Terminology dropped the album together. I'm. It's like it's kind of like the good music is coming back times two, and it's just nowadays, man. Whatever come out is gonna be great. You know what I mean? It's so much to keep up with. You know what I mean? So it's about being prolific and standing out, man. But it's hard because it's a lot of hot shit popping out here. You know what I mean? So, um, I want to see what XD Nack's gonna do. West Side Gun said that was his last album, so I want to see what Benny the Butcher definitely gonna do. I want to see what Ricky High gonna do. Um, I like Moneybag Yo. I want to see him drop some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I fuck with my youngin. Shout out Glorilla, Sexy Red, St. Louis all day. Um, like I said, like I'm a hip hop head, but I love everything. It is just so much that's getting ready to come out, and there's some things that's getting ready to come out that we ain't gonna see. So, and that showed in this interview right here. So, I'm just more like, I don't know, man, because you got me like I'm in the barber shop right now. So, like. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of shit. Like back in the day, you knew who was coming out. Everybody gravitated towards it. Now it's like since it's an even playing field, it's like everybody's coming out with something. You know what I mean? Like, cause I had a conversation with some dudes and they was like talking about how sexy she is and this, that, and third. I'm like, bro, like we too old to be talking about how sexy she is, bro. Like she can really rap. And niggas is like, what? I'm like, it's a different generation. It's a different day and age, bro. Like everybody ain't gonna rap like how we rap back in the day. It's a different day and age. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of artists out here doing their thing, man. And it's just like when it drop, it drop. And when I heard and whatever reaction I'm gonna get to it, it's gonna be that.
We also forgot to mention that BG is home and free now,
I'm just waiting on
and we
it. With
still forgot
BG. I'm just
about.
waiting.
Well, we ain't forgot about it.
See the thing is, it was like I've been listening to BG when he was locked up and everything. Like I'm a Cash Money
Yep,
head, so I'm just waiting on the music.
never stop.
Right.
That's it. That's it. And look at the mass amount of people he has to work with, because there won't be any more of why you not working with Boosie, because so many people go on to work with BG that they ain't gonna have no other choice but to work with Boosie, because BG and Boosie are so good
Right.
friends that when you see Boosie and BG drop that album, or you see BG show up on one of Boosie mixtapes or one of Boosie next album just so he can get back in the flow of things, man.
I mean,
And then again, he may not even be wanting to do nothing right now. He may want to chill for a little
as
while
he
before he
should.
drops.
I'm just waiting for the music with
But
BG. Like I already know what it is with BG. You know what I'm saying? Like when I knew he was gonna come home. I knew, I knew about all that. It was just, with the music part. I'm just waiting on the music. That's it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's kind of like he did a bid for what 10 plus years. I'm not expecting him to come home and just drop music.
14, 14 or 15. So yeah,
I'm gonna let him be
yeah, he was
normal.
in there for almost
Yeah, I'm
15.
just gonna let
So
him be normal. Let him live his normal life. When he ready to get back in the booth, man, I'm here listening. I'm here streaming. Believe that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad he out. And I'm just looking forward to the music that he about to drop, man. I mean, I knew, what I'm saying? I listened to the to him and Boosie, but that's kind of like some default type shit, because it's like when Boosie and BG collab is fire. I fuck with Boosie and I fuck with BG solo. So it's like I'm just waiting on. Like I said, I'm just waiting. When he get ready to drop some shit, my ears are open. As always.
for us, Boosie and BG is default because we listen to them. But for a lot of those who don't work with them or listen to them, it's probably like who
Oh, they gonna be reaching.
what? It's kind of like when I told you about Paul Wall and terminology. They were like, "What they doing? What?" Or see us move on West Side Gunner. Wait a minute,
Right.
he's on who? So it's going to be kind of like that. It's going to be like, man, I can't believe they're working together. Yeah,
I
they working
mean,
together. So
but
that's why that's why when stuff like that happen, I think like, man. So imagine if Rick Ross and 50 did a song together. Then everybody can be like, oh, I can't believe they did a song together. They must have squashed their beef. Why can't they just do song together to make good music?
I think I would expect 50 and Ja
So
Rule.
stuff like that.
I would expect like
And I don't
50 and
think.
Ja Rule
I don't,
do a song together.
oh, I don't think that it wouldn't happen, but according to 50, it
Yeah,
would happen.
but like the closest we gonna get is Cam and Mace it is what it is talk show. Like ever since they came out, I stopped watching
Yeah.
ESPN years ago. Like only reason why I follow sports now is because of them,
So
and they don't even rap no more.
yeah, I only watch Undisputed because of Keyshawn Johnson. I watched it because of Shannon Sharp, but I haven't watched really ESPN in a long time unless I need to see highlights from a certain game that
Right,
wasn't on TV. But other than that, I don't really watch it consistently. I don't even leave my TV on for them to get the plays and the
right.
views on ESPN. So, but other than that, it's historically, I'd love to see if I could take, let's say, 50, Ja Rule, Rick Ross, and the game, and put them all in one room, and and you know what? Just for giggles, let's say Nelly, and put them all in one room and say, hey, it's gonna be y'all versus the West Side Kings, Cube, uh, Too Short, E40, and Snoop. One track. It's gonna be y'all. It's gonna be a CD. The money going towards a
I
donation.
don't know, man.
want the 2 CD.
The Midwest and the Midwest and the West click, bro. So that's gonna be crazy. Like
But that's how I would break it down though. So they couldn't be like, hey Nelly, come over here, or hey Nelly, come Nelly, you're gonna be with this side because the West Side Kings already
right.
got their side because they already got they side that they standing with. So they're the Mount Rushmore, the West Side Rushmore, whatever they call themselves.
That's
So if
crazy.
you pick them four, yeah. So I mean, I could have picked Nas, but
That's a different echelon, bro.
I want to go
That's a
with 50.
different echelon, OG.
Yeah,
Like for real. Like that's some echelon shit. I put Fat Joe in that echelon too, and a lot of people don't give Fat Joe credit.
I was picking people 50
Oh
had
yeah,
beef
yeah,
with.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Not 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 the small beef, but like beef with like Rick Ross, because he had beef with Fat Joe, but Fat Joe is on his side now. Rick Ross, the game, they don't really still talk to him like they like Fat Joe. Fat Joe hang around and kick
Right.
with. But if you look at the people he had beef with and say, hey, this is for charity, boom, he'll do it. But other than that, I don't think he would do it any other time. Uh,
Uh,
last thing, uh, what's it? Timberland and Swiss Beats said they repurchased verses. What do you think about that?
uh, I like it. Um, the verses that taking place were phenomenal. I still watch the Locks and the Dipset because I feel like that's number one. So I can only imagine what they're going to come with the next time around. And to further expound on that is that when you got the Isley Brothers, when you got DMX and Snoop Dogg going,
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
huh?
I was saying
Yeah,
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Isley Brothers and
So
Earth,
yeah,
Wind and Fire was a verses. Gucci Mane and Jeezy.
Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight. So yeah, they had some
Right. They
legends.
had legends, they had icons. You know what I mean? I want to,
Yeah.
like, for real, 50 Cent and Ja Rule need to do a verses. I want to see 50 Cent and
I
Ja
agree
Rule.
with your
Cause
direction.
cause like the way the verses, cause like even with reggae, like with Beanie Man and I think it was Bounty Killer, like every verses was epic, even with Keisha Cole and Ashanti. So to even expound furthermore with your question is like on everything, like it's gonna go to a whole different level. Like I want to see, because if Gucci Mane and Jeezy did a verses, I expect to see 50 and Ja Rule do a verses because they have catalog.
So well, the difference between the two is 50 has catalog. He has books and books of catalog. Ja Rule don't have that many books of
Ja
catalog.
got catalog, man.
That's the difference between
Like
the two.
like I said, 50 my guy. At the end of the day, 50 my guy. But we can't sit over here and be like, Ja got catalog. Ja Rule and 50. Because you got to think about it, like, if we going to talk catalog, Jeezy, because it's no different than Jeezy and Gucci Mane. For real, for real. It's really no different.
So are you looking at catalog as it just what 50 has rapped himself or what 50 has written for other
Nah, see,
songs
I
and
ain't
stuff
talking
like
about
that?
like, I'm talking about just them as an artist, like with them on the record. Like, that I want to see that. It like I'm expecting some, like, to answer your question, I expect some 50 verse Ja type shit. Honestly. That's what I really expect, like some 50 verse Ja Rule type shit. If they got the verses back together, I expect a 50 verse Ja because all right, 50 Cent, you got In the Club, you got
Get Rich or Die Trying is better than is enough catalog for him to do versus Ja by
I
itself.
agree. But we can't I'm not siding with Ja. I'm just not negating the fact that Ja got catalog. Because before 50 Cent came out, you can't forget about the time when Ja Rule was running shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, with 50, I get it, but back to the question at hand is that since Timberland and Timberland and Swiss did the verses, like I expect to see some 50. I expect to see some unexpected shit, honestly, because I didn't expect Dipset and the Locks to go at it, and it was classic. So I'm expecting some 50 verse jaw type shit on everything, for real. Like I'm expecting that.
Because what about
Now go ahead.
T.I. and Ludacris?
Ludacris went against Nelly.
What they got to do with anything? What about T.I. versus
T.I. got to
Ludacris?
go
That's
against
ATL versus ATL.
like Jadakiss is like the only,
Because you said unexpected.
huh?
You said unexpected. So T.I. and Ludacris, ATL battle of
But
ATL, and then first said it would be a battle of
is
ATL.
I don't know. Like T.I. and Ludacris, like T.I. and Busta made more sense than T.I. and Ludacris. And the thing about,
But see, that's my thought process. That's my
oh, and
thought
it's
process
all it's
for
always respected. Like T.I. and Luda, like
yeah.
I can see that. I could definitely see that. You know what I mean? I just don't see some outside Jadakiss. I don't see nobody else doing the verses twice because Jadakiss went against Fab, and of course the Locks and the Dipset joint. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Like T.I. and Ludacris, I feel like, but T.I. I don't know. Like who would T.I. really go against outside Ludacris in Atlanta?
That's a good question. So it's hard to name Atlanta rappers though, because so many people move to Atlanta from other states.
Right.
So it's really hard to name Atlanta rappers because people move from Miami, Florida to Atlanta. They move from New Orleans or Louisiana to Atlanta. So it's hard to name Atlanta rappers right now, I'd say, because everybody's migrated to Atlanta.
I want to see Lil Wayne and Eminem on the verses.
That would be a good one.
I want to see Mobb Deep
That would be a
and
good one.
Outkast.
Is one of them dead?
Cause,
Mobb Deep?
like I said, go
Isn't
ahead.
Havoc? Isn't Havoc? Is Havoc? Is it
It's
Havoc
just Havoc.
from Mobb Deep?
Yeah,
So Prodigy is the
right.
one that's dead. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But yeah, man, like,
So
go ahead.
what about Mobb Deep versus the Clips?
That would be crazy. I ain't gonna hold you.
Because both of them
That,
have somebody that's known, right?
because Clips got hits. Mobb Deep got hits. Shook Ones versus Grinding. Oh man. Hey, I don't know, man. Like that would be a crazy. That's like 8 Ball versus MJ. That's 8 Ball MJG versus UGK versus, and that actually happened, and that's why I put that because that shit was legendary. But in Clips versus Mobb Deep on the verses, man.
What about well, they didn't have that many. I can't say I was gonna say Crucial Conflict versus
Do or die.
Outkast, but
Nah,
Outkast had more songs than Crucial
Crucial Conflict
Conflict
got to
did, so
go
that
with Do
wouldn't
or
be
Die in the verses.
oh I would do or Die versus Outkast because Do or Die had more catalog than Crucial Conflict did.
Outkast,
So Do or Die can stand up against
true story.
Outkast.
I ain't that true story. Like
But not as individuals, but as a group, they could. That would be a good
Outkast
one.
though,
That would be a
with
good one.
Outkast,
If we picking somebody from Atlanta,
yeah, respectfully, yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see that. But
because
like as far as Outkast in the verses though, outside of that,
well, if that's the case, since we talking about people who go against Ti, now that I think about it, you got Big Boy, you got Andre 3000. I think Andre 3000 would do him bad because Andre got them. Andre 3000 got them hits
he
too.
do. I want to
So
see Ti and Lil Flip.
I was gonna say that. I was just waiting on you
I want to
to
see Ti and
say that
Flip.
because it'd be the king of the South is what they call
Right.
themselves.
I really want to see Scarface against in the
So
verses.
I hope he's doing well.
What's going on with him?
He was sick for a little while. I thought, he lost all that weight. I thought he was sick for a little
Yeah,
while.
because I know he had the kidney transplant.
Oh, so that's what it was.
But the
His
kidney
kidneys
transplant
was
was like
failing him,
years
so
ago.
yeah, that's the last time I'd seen him though. So that's why I said I hope he's
He
doing well
should
after the
be. Yeah,
transplant.
most definitely. That's Scarface. I don't know, man. Like, I just, back to your question, man. It's like, what do I think about it? It's gonna have to be some phenomenal matchups. Just by us talking these past couple of minutes, it's like, cause I'm sitting over here thinking, I'm looking out the window, just thinking, like, cause you gotta think about it, like, cause the when they had verses, it was like some dope ass. It was never a whack verses, ever. It was never a whack.
So
Not bad.
now that I think about it, Swiss Beats owns it,
And
right?
Timberland.
Why now? Alicia Keys and Mary
Yeah,
J.
I want to see Mary J. Blige in the
I
verses.
mean, yeah. So let's put her up against Mary J. and Alicia Keys. Let's get it.
Oh,
Or
that's how you
Maya.
feeling?
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Hey,
Let's
for
get it.
real?
Let's get it. And Swiss Beats, if you listening to this, drop our 10% because we don't put down like a whole season for you already.
Yeah, for real, for real. Hey, you already know. Just reach out to me, man. Like
So
Cash App, whatever. Like,
yeah, don't
just
even
throw me
cash
my
out me.
cut. You heard me?
Just send
I'm
me the
straight.
contract.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We good.
Send
We
me the
stand on business.
send me the
We stand
contract.
on business. We good business.
Yeah, send
But
me
but
yeah, send us the contract because we work
yeah,
for you
we
now.
we employees of verses right now. Like Mary J. Blige and
Yeah,
Alicia
y'all don't
Keys.
even worry about it. Just sit back, and we'll do it. We'll get the groups that need to be up there on the
But
verses
Mary
together.
J. Blige and Alicia Keys. I want to see Brandy versus
Yep.
Monica.
Well, they pretty much did it with the boys' mind.
But even still, like with their careers, like Brandy and Monica, shit, bruh, I'll pay to see Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC. I ain't even gonna hold it. Like for real. If we gonna be like that, like, bro, I want to see back because you gotta think about it. NSYNC reunited for a song. I want to see Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC. Because I'm like, if they're coming back together, they got
Or
to do way. Because you got to think about it, they doing something way bigger than what they've been doing. So when you ask that question, my mind
what
went
about
everywhere.
Backstreet Boys? What about Backstreet Boys or NSYNC versus Boys to Men?
But if I'm gonna say Boys and Men, they would have to go against Jodeci.
No, I'm saying because if you're going to do Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, then why not put them against Boys to Men or
Because
Jodeci? One
Boys
of the
and Men
two.
and Jodeci will wash them. For Boys
Well,
and Men, you
then
got
why you
end of the
didn't say
road.
that when I said
Go
that
ahead.
again? That's the same thought process I have for 50 versus Ja Rule, but you see it differently for other things.
Because the reason why I say that because people honestly dismissed Ja Rule's career when 50 Cent came on. And 51 at the end of the day, it's just that with the hits that Ja Rule had, Ja Rule worked with Bobby Brown and made a hit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from 50. 50, because I'm going to choose 50 over Ja anyway, but we cannot negate Ja Rule's success musically. And the reason why I say the 50 versus Ja situation, because it's no different than Jeezy and Gucci Mane. It's no different.
Uh,
It's really no
so
difference.
to me, there is a difference because I never took anything from Ja
Right.
Rule. I just said he doesn't have a bigger catalog than 50
Right.
Cent. That's what I said. He doesn't have a bigger catalog than 50 Cent. So Ja Rule versus 50 wouldn't necessarily be a good versus because 50 has more songs that he has done than Ja Rule has. That's been number one hits. The Get Rich or Die Trying is a number one hit album by
Yeah.
itself. That's more than Ja Rule has
So
done
you can't, but that's what I'm saying.
with
So
anybody Ja
you, so
Rule has
that,
done because 50 has done more guest hits, selections by himself, and with guest appearances than Ja has done in his entire career.
but you got to think about it though, like Holla Holla. His first album is a classic. Like when he did the joint with he got some shit with Case. He got some shit with Christina Milian. the Put It On Me record, the Living It Up record, and stuff like that. Because it was like a lot of his collaborations was under the Def Jam umbrella. I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's just that like I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. 1000%. It's like when it comes down to it, like because you gotta look at Jeezy and Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane got more catalog than Jeezy. It was just that rivalry.
But Jeezy has more hits than Gucci. That's why he's able to stay inside that
I don't
verses
know.
because Gucci has more hits.
Man, Gucci Mane got a song with Mariah Carey.
Because Gucci, but you have to look at it. Jeezy's been mainstream.
True.
Gucci only went mainstream. 5 years ago? Once he got out of jail the
Mm.
last time, before he started losing all that weight, and then he started calling himself by his first name. He's only been mainstream for about 5 good years now. Jesus has been mainstream for since he came out with Boys in the Hood. He's been mainstream. USDA. Every album he's done's been mainstream. So he's had hits back for almost 15 years
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
So now when you look at the start of Gucci's, it was all underground albums. It didn't come out with USDA and be like the number one, boom, 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 boom. Thug Motivation 101, mainstream. Gucci's first album and all his albums wasn't mainstream. That's what
Nah.
I'm saying. It's not that Gucci has more songs. It's that it wasn't mainstream. So a lot of people wasn't buying it unless you was like, hey, dude, you got the new Gucci album? Yeah, I got it. Okay, boom. $5 out the back of the trunk.
Yeah. Since you come from that
Because you
perspective,
couldn't just go buy Gucci.
respectfully.
Yeah, you couldn't go buy Gucci out of Walmart or Target or out of your favorite store. You could probably go buy it out of the record store, but technically mainstream, they knew who Jeezy was. Because you remember, he took Lil Wayne. He was in the group with Lil Wayne, USDA.
Wayne was with USDA.
Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood.
Hold on. That was Jody Breeze.
You
Now
remember
I
that?
remember it. I definitely remember it because the original members was T.I. and Trick Daddy was supposed to be the original members of Boys in the Hood.
Lil Wayne
Lil
was too.
Wayne, I thought Lil Wayne was supposed to be joining Dipset at that time.
Lil Wayne was supposed to be joining
No,
everybody.
like, because he did, because this was right after Diplomats left Rockefeller, and Diplomats was on their own shit, and they had the Killer Season movie. Around that time, Wayne was doing a lot of collaborations with Dipset at the time.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lil Wayne was supposed to be joining everybody. Now, they'll probably hear this and like, nah, that ain't true. I mean, of
No, I'm not
course,
saying it ain't
you
true.
deny all you want.
Yeah,
No, not you. I'm just saying, of course, when they hear this, they're probably like, how did they know? But, it's doing them collaborations. The word on the street, that gets a lot of people out of trouble. The word on the street allegedly is it was supposed to be Lil Wayne.
that's crazy. I knew Trick Daddy and T.I. was supposed to be initially a part of it. Jody Breeze.
So, and see, I didn't know
Like,
that.
yeah, Jody Breeze, because to me, like when it came to Boys in the Hood, like Jeezy had the street hype, but I felt like Jody Breeze was like the more of the front runner of that shit because that's my favorite member out of Boys in the Hood was Jody Breeze because Jody Breeze is still man.
Because you remember they did that. They did those
Yeah,
albums. And then Jeezy came out with Thug Motivation. Then they came out with USDA. But Boys in the Hood, that was Jeezy's first induction to mainstream. And then he came out with Thug Motivation 1,
Trap
2,
or
3.
Die.
And then he came out with the USDA group. And then he came out, he was still doing his mixtape. But his mainstream was Boys in the Hood. And then he came out with Thug Motivation. Then they was like, who is that? Because he had already had his mainstream
I felt
stuff.
like Jeezy had the biggest underground success in history. Because with that Trap or Die, he introduced. If it weren't for Jeezy, we wouldn't have DJ Drama.
Gold Grill, yeah.
For real, we wouldn't know who DJ Drama was if it wasn't for that. Like, because we didn't know who we wouldn't know. Because DJ Drama used to be correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. He was in the New York circuit heavy. So I remember that because coming up like mixtapes, the hottest freestyles, because Fabulous was that spitter. Yeah, at the time. Then Joe Budden came right
Oh
after
yeah,
him, and DJ Drama was in that circuit. So when
Fab, yeah, Fab was that smooth spitter too. Fab was the smooth spitter too. That's who I forgot with the Timberland group. You know, because he would be in and out with that group every now and then on guest tracks. I like Fabulous too. That's no problem. That's been an amazing show. So y'all know. Uh, Untitled Choices / Out Now with LouGinian James. So we added yeah, y'all got a bonus to future episodes inside of an episode. He didn't even know it was gonna happen, but it happened, and I like organic stuff. With that being said, you all have an amazing day, amazing month, amazing time. And remember, you take time, you sit down, you move swiftly, you move slowly, and you do it one step at a time. You'll be able to do everything at your own pace. I bless you all later.